Hey everyone, what's going on? For the past few days, I have been documenting on my blog a whole lot about the band Slipknot, and I also just made this video earlier today about the band Slipknot. And what I talk about in this video is how the world is scripted by these signs and symbols, and also through this ancient knowledge practice of coding numbers into words and phrases called gematria or gematria. And I know that the band Slipknot knows about this system because they have a song called Gematria, the Killing Name, and it is on their album called All Hope Is Gone. And the interesting thing about this is after I made this video earlier, I went on Facebook and somebody had tagged me in a post about the member of Slipknot, Shawn Crahan. His daughter, I guess, died yesterday. And what's so interesting is she died by this same code, the same system that I'm talking about that Slipknot even has a song about. If you look up this girl's dad, his name's Shawn Crahan, and he was born on September 24th. And if you go from the day that his daughter died, which was yesterday, to his birthday, it just so happens to be 4 months and 6 days. And that's interesting because in this practice of coding numbers into words and phrases called gematria, notice Slipknot equals 46, and it also equals 116. Look at her name in gematria, Gabrielle Crahan. It equals 116, and then she dies 4 months and 6 days before her father's birthday, who was in the band Slipknot, who equals 46. Paul Gray, remember Paul Gray, the bass player at Slipknot? He died 46 days after his birthday as well. He died 46 days, and it was also 1 month and 16 days. Let's look at this really quick so I can show you what I'm talking about. His birthday was April 8th, and then he died on May 24th, which is 46 days, also 1 month and 16 days. And remember what Slipknot equals. Slipknot just so happens to equal 116, also 46, all synced up, right? So if you're new, you might be wondering why there's 4 different numbers down here. And that's a legit question, but what it stems back to is another ancient piece of knowledge called Hermeticism. And within Hermeticism, there is a belief that everything is the same and everything is also the opposite. And ironically, the band Slipknot has this song called Duality, which is a principle within Hermeticism, right? Everything is the same, everything is the opposite, as above, so below. Within Hermeticism, there's also the belief that everything carries a vibration, letters, numbers, signs, symbols, and so on. And essentially, if you can manipulate the way that these vibrations work, you can manipulate the way that this world works. And that's what goes on every single day in our mainstream media. And it's how people are ruling over us and, continually putting certain stories in front of us that affect the way that the world works. And another reason that's important, so gematria, it goes back to Jewish mysticism, which is called Kabbalah. And within Kabbalah, there's a belief that God created the world by merging the letter with the number with the word. And what's so interesting about that, if you compare this to Hermeticism and think about how God created the world, right? If you write out God, in the reverse gematria is here, 55, and the small way it's 10. And look what Satan equals. Satan equals the opposite, but also the same, right? It's 10 the frontwards way, and 55 the big way. These 4 ciphers right here are really easy to understand. I've tons of videos explaining them, but this is just the alphabetic order. A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, all the way up to Z is 26. This, you would just reduce it to numerology. So when you got to J, it's the 10th letter. You would take 1 plus 0 equals 1. And K is the 11th letter. 1 plus 1 is 2. And these are just the reversed ways. Like Z is 1, Y is 2, all the way up to A is 26, and then you just reduce it. But how interesting that God and Satan are complete opposites. And in Kabbalah, They're the same thing, but they're also the opposite. And God created the world by merging the letter with the number. That's why the band Marilyn Manson has the song called Say 10, and he says, you say God, and I say 10. He's telling you to say the number. And Satan equals 10, God equals 10, Adam equals 10. It's just ridiculous. Dust, God created Adam out of dust. Dust equals 10, man equals 10. But notice what Kabbalah equals. Kabbalah, keep spelling it wrong there, but Kabbalah equals 38. And within Kabbalah, there's Gematria that equals 38. Paul Gray was all about this number 38. Paul Gray's name equals 38. He supposedly died at the age of 38 years old. His nickname was the Pig that equals 38. He died in Johnston, Iowa. Johnston equals 38. If you write out Johnston, Iowa, that equals 163, which is the 38th prime number. And words such as murder equal 38. Also, the word death equals 38. The word killing equals 38. Think about how Gematria, the killing name, right, equals 38. He died in room 431, which is the 83rd prime number, the reflection of 38. He was posthumously awarded the Kerrang that equals 38. Not really anything to do with him, but Stone Sour also equals 38. So absolutely by this code. He was also known as the number 2 in the band. And if you go and look at the album All Hope Is Gone, that has the song Gematria, the killing name, it just so happens to be track number 2, and it was Paul Gray's final album of Slipknot that he was even on, right? So now that you got a little bit better understanding of Gematria and how Gematria is known by the band Slipknot and their members are all connected in this way, I'll leave a link to this video as well, because I talk about all kinds of stuff in this video. Maggots equal 35, Slipknot equals 35. Their new song that just released was called Unsainted, that equals 35 as well, right? Oh, the odds. Their first single was called Wait and Bleed, that equals 100, and, notice what Slipknot also equals, 100. Look what Shawn Michael Crahan equals, 100. So no doubt that it is all synced up this way. So let's look more about at this girl. Her father is 49 years old, and that's really sticks out to me just before the fact that she died 4 months and 9 days before her birthday, and her father's 49 years old. And the 49th prime number is 227, and she died on the day, leaving 227 days in the year. And if you go back and look at the video that I just made about Slipknot, I was talking all about this date of August 10th and how it was important to this number 227, and it's connected to the 227th anniversary of the fall of the French monarchy in history. And if you read out French monarchy, it equals 227. French Revolution equals 227. It began because of an assembly of the Estates General that equals 227. Napoleon was born on the 227th day of the year. And in 2016, we had the attack in Nice, France, the van attack, and that was on the 227th anniversary of the storming of the Bastille. And a whole lot more. I've just talked a lot about this number 227, and how it was synced up to the number 49 even, and synced up to France. And August 10th is the beginning of Tisha B'Av, which is a Jewish remembrance day of the destruction of the 2 temples. And this day has been really important to a lot of stuff we've been following with Donald Trump and the wall symbolism and, the construction of the 3rd temple and so on. So the reason it's important to Slipknot is because they're playing at the Iowa State Fair for the first time ever on August 10th. And there's this big narrative with Donald Trump from way back when he was on a helicopter at the Iowa State Fair, and he said he was Batman. And that same month, there was all kinds of Batman stuff going on. I'm not going to re-explain it, but August 10th is this important day to Donald Trump and this big narrative that connects to the band Slipknot. And in the video, I also talked about how Kanye West was important because he sang the Queen song at Glastonbury in 2015. And then he said he was the greatest living rock star. And then Corey Taylor called him out and said, "You're not the greatest living rock star ever." And Kanye was all about the Queen symbolism. Queen Elizabeth, he was super connected to the Paris, France attacks, the ISIS attacks that were in Paris, France on uh, November 13th of 2015 as well. But everything with Kanye was all about the Queen symbolism. And I see that Saturday Night Live just recently, this Saturday, they did a play on a Queen song, and all of these other people make sense to be in the background, but then they have Kanye West back here that doesn't really seem to make that much sense with the narrative, but they're of course doing the Queen song. And Donald Trump's national convention was in Cleveland, and he came out to the song "We Are the Champions" by Queen. Kanye visited the White House just before we got the announcement of the royal baby. And then just after that, we got the movie Bohemian Rhapsody that came out on November 2nd, the same day that Slipknot tickets for the Iowa State Fair went on sale. So it's just so absolutely ridiculous. All these things that I'm talking about, they just keep showing up within the mainstream media. Talked all about Buffy the Vampire Slayer and how it was important to the Big Bang Theory for, 2 months now. And then, of course, Buffy the Vampire Slayer just so happened to be the running joke on the season or, the final ever episode of the Big Bang Theory. So it's just craziness. So I know it's connected. This girl's dad is 49 years old. She died 4 months, 9 days before her birthday. That's important to the date of 2/27. She also died 83 days before this new album releases, the day before they play at the Iowa State Fair, August 9th. 83 days, also 2 months, 22 days. And 83 sticks out because it's really important to Ethiopia, that equals 83. And August 10th is World Lion Day as well. And we had that Ethiopian airline crash earlier that was this big tribute to Haile Selassie, or, the guy in Rastafari that they believe that is the second coming of Jesus Christ and so on. And his name equals 83 and so on. And 2/22 is interesting because August 10th is the 222nd day of the year. But think about it. She dies 83 days before this new album. And the new album is going to be called "We Are Not Your Kind," that equals 83 in Gematria. And this other member of Slipknot, Chris Fane, or however you say his name, she died 83 days after his birthday. And he got fired from the band Slipknot at the age of 46. And once again, Slipknot equals 46. This girl dies 4 months, 6 days before her dad's birthday. All by the numbers. There's a whole lot more here. But I'm skipping over a lot just to make it simple for you. But Corey Taylor's really, really important to a lot of Slipknot, right? And if you go from his birthday to May 18th, it's 161 days. And also, if you write out Shawn Michael Crahan, it equals 161. And I don't know where this girl died in, but if she died in Johnston, Iowa, that's interesting because it also equals 161, and it syncs up to Paul Gray and so on. And Paul Gray was known as the Pig, and a big thing with August 10th as well was I was talking about how it's a Chinese pig year, and that's important to stuff I was documenting about 2016. So once again, don't want to lose you, but it's definitely important. They played on the Jimmy Kimmel show the night before or right before she died, and his name equals 328. And that's interesting because Paul Dedrick Gray equals 328. And Corey Taylor's birthday is 3 months and 28 days after August 10th. And this was this big number around the Big Bang Theory that I was documenting about and its importance. It's all important to pi and whatnot. 3.14. 227 is important to pi because 22 divided by 7 equals 3.14. So, I just wanted to make it short. I need to go to bed, but, just wanted to just show yet again. Something that I'm talking about, it always happens in the mainstream media, and there's always these connections that are going on with it, and they're always scripted by the system, and this band knows all about it. They wouldn't have a song called that if they didn't understand what was going on with it. Think about the band The Police that have a song called Murder by Numbers, and they say murder by numbers, 1, 2, 3, it's as easy as your ABCs. And, the Jackson 5, ABC, 1, 2, 3. They've been telling us about the system for years, and, people just weren't paying attention, so when someone dies, people say, I guess their number was just up. Why would they even say that? Why is there a phrase that, there's power in numbers? Because it's all to do with the system of ancient knowledge and how there are people in this world who are essentially playing God over the rest of the world. In the song Gematria, he says, what if God doesn't care? You know what I mean? He says that over and over. And we will burn your cities down. What if God doesn't care? It's because the system is set up by whatever God truly is, but there are people who can essentially play God over the rest of the world with this system. So, leaving it there. Have a good one. Check out some links in the description and learn to apply this knowledge. It's very, very simple knowledge. There's a gematria, a calculator that will do it for you. Way back in the day, I was doing all this math in my head and writing it all down and so on. And then I discovered these gematria calculators. This one, definitely the best one, gematrinator.com. So check it out. Learn these 4 ciphers. There's a lot more to learn with it, but once you learn these 4, you'll understand how this system works a lot better, and you'll see the overlap with other things that get a little bit deeper if you really apply it. So have a good one. Peace.